Good evening. It is Aunt T with Goodnight Stories with Aunt T. Tonight we're going to do two stories, The Kid and the Wolf, and The Country Mouse and the City Mouse. So, I may have said that backwards, but anyway, a kid can be a little child, or a kid can also be a little goat. So, up here we have our goat, and up here we have our wolf. And that wolf and that kid, I don't know if they should be talking together. What do you think? Okay, let's get started on our story. A frisky young kid had been left by the herdsman on the thatched roof of a sheep shelter to keep him out of harm's way. The kid was browsing near the edge of the roof when he spied a wolf and began to jeer at him, making faces and abusing him to his heart's content. "I hear you," said the wolf, "and I haven't the least grudge against you for what you say or do. When you are up there, it is the roof that's talking, not you." And the lesson from our story is, do not say anything at any time that you would not say at all times. That means that if you couldn't say it in front of your mama, I wouldn't say it. If you couldn't say it in front of your auntie or your grandma or your uncle or your daddy, then you shouldn't say it at all. So do not say anything at any time that you would not say at all times. And our next story is a little bit long. We have the town mouse and the country mouse. Can you figure out which one is which? I can't, just from looking at the picture. So let's read. A town mouse once visited a relative who lived in the country. For lunch, the country mouse served wheat stalks, roots, and acorns with a dash of cold water to drink. The town mouse ate very sparingly, nibbling a little of this and a little of that, and by her manner making it very plain that she ate the simple food only to be polite. After the meal, the friends had a long talk, or rather the town mouse talked about her life in the city, while the country mouse listened. They then went to bed in a cozy nest in the hedgerow and slept in quiet and comfort till morning. In her sleep, the country mouse dreamed she was a town mouse with all the luxuries and delights of city life that her friend had described to her. So the next day, when the town mouse asked the country mouse to go home with her to the city, she gladly said yes. When they reached the mansion in which the town mouse lived, they found on the table in the dining room the leavings of a very fine banquet. There were sweetmeats and jellies, pastries, delicious cheeses, indeed the most tempting foods that a mouse can imagine. But just as the country mouse was about to nibble a dainty bit of pastry, she heard a cat meow loudly and scratch at the door. In great fear, the mice scurried to a hiding place, where they lay quite still for a long time, hardly daring to breathe. When at last they ventured back to the feast, the door opened suddenly. In came the servants to clear the table, followed by the house dog. The country mouse stopped in the town mouse's den only long enough to pick up her carpet bag and umbrella. "You may have luxuries and dainties that I have not," she said as she hurried away, "but I prefer my plain food and simple life in the country with the peace and security that go with it." Poverty with security is better than plenty in the midst of fear and uncertainty. Those are big words. Poverty means you're poor. You don't have very much. But if you're safe and poor, it's better than being rich but being afraid all the time. So, I think I would rather be poor and feel safe than be super, super rich and always be afraid that someone's going to try and hurt me. So, my goodness, we need to tell the Lord tonight that we are thankful that we have a safe place to live. So let's pray. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Angels watching through the night. Wake me with the morning light. Good night.